it's always, spoken to me a little bit ever since I was a child going to school in Darlinghurst in the 1960s. Single person on the street, it seemed, between Kensington and Darlinghurst. They knew.
And that was, to me, seemed the beginning of the kind of Jekyll and Hyde existence of Edinburgh, the haves and the have-nots. Edinburgh that people didn't see led me to find bits of Edinburgh, like, buried streets, tunnels, things in its history.
Shakespeare and Chekhov, and it is part of literature and part of the wonderful contribution that writers give to our society. With my eyes in gaudy red, Keneally red, or ember red, or dream red, tucked into his silly swagger of pants, of the most promising tightness, tight as a throat lodged with song, as a fist of the white shining knuckles. Ah, what dazzle of hips! But he white walks, out for a walk with my skin, rough and shaven, shoddy. Cacti chin is he, grazes the back of my knees. I dream of lichens.
Male lovers.
Horse breeder, horse rider, and horse writer, in fact, as it happens. But I'm sitting in the company of somebody who is many more of her books and also the interviews that I've read on her. Now, for those of you who perhaps don't know much about her, I'll just give a very short introduction because it takes away from the time of the author. Later came this fabulous Horse Heaven, and for the thing that was more simple and then began to just sort of grow.
No, I knew that there would be 6 horses in it. I knew there'd be 2 fillies and 2 colts and 2 older geldings, and that they would have people clustered around them at various places in their lives, and that their lives would all intertwine. And for me, it wasn't especially complicated because if I knew which horse I was talking about, where he or she was located, and what time of the year it was, then I would know what was going on. Because the racing calendar in the States is very specific, if they're going to the Kentucky Derby, then it's April, almost May. If they're going to the Breeders' Cup, then it's October. The meets last for several months and then move to another racetrack. So, right, than it is for some people, or many people, to follow. Because and my advice to people, if they can't follow it, is just pay attention to that particular horse, and then it'll all sort of fall into place. Well, my mother was determined that I was going to be a writer and a novelist, and I was determined that I was going to breed horses and be a rider. And she won temporarily. But actually, I think when I was about 13, I had the picture in my mind. I thought I was going to grow up and do something to earn a living, and then as soon as I had earned enough, I was going to go back to horses. And it took longer than I thought it would, but it was pretty much what I thought it would be, and that's what I did. Because she didn't know anything about it, so she asked him about the horse show, and I swear, he said, took long enough. And it had taken all day, with very little payoff as far as he was concerned, I suppose. But that had not been anything in my mind. And then this spring, I asked her to communicate with my Great Dane. He's taken the opportunity of my absence to dominate her and stuff like that. So I said to the animal communicator, we'll find out what's going on with the Great Dane. And she said that he thought my daughter was precarious somehow, and he was always trying to hold her up because he thought maybe this was his responsibility. And I had some other dogs. I have a Jack Russell Terrier, and she didn't think this was her responsibility at all. But I thought, that was really interesting because I hadn't told the communicator that the dog was pushing into my daughter all the time. Right. I just said, find out what's going on with him. So, and then through the animal communicator, we we communicated with the Great Dane that it wasn't his responsibility to keep her on her feet. And he left her alone after that.
Calling. On the line was a man who introduced himself as Attorney Marcelo Hipólito, executor of my grandmother's estate. My grandmother, Doña Constancia Medina y Aragon, he announced in a voice that betrayed his disapproval of me, had died of stroke close to 6 weeks ago. His office had had great difficulty locating me. Not even my sister, he added, knew where I worked or lived. He paused at this point, perhaps to give me the chance to explain myself, or at least apologize for the inconvenience I had caused his firm. But I didn't comment. After a while, he continued speaking. I must admit, though, that I heard little of what he said, because my mind was filled with one thought. She's
How?
Images. Little stories and emotions, they're really engrossing narrative. Tom Keneally.
From both The Great Shame and from Bethany's book about two women. One of the great things is that if you find out that you have the DNA of a convict in you, and it's a woman convict or a male convict, you can find out about their voyage to Australia down in Globe Street by reading the...
I know are true. My name is Luling Liu Young. The names of my husbands were Pan Kai Jing and Edwin Young, both of them dead, and our secrets gone with them. My daughter is Ruth Rui Young. She was born in a water dragon year, and I in a fire dragon year. So we are the same, but for opposite reasons. I know all this, yet there is one name I cannot remember. It is there in the oldest layer of my memory, and I cannot dig it out. 100 times I have gone over that morning when precious Auntie wrote it down. I was only 6 then, but good. She started our day. She scrubbed my face and ears. She parted my hair and combed my bangs. She went down any strands that stuck out like spider legs.